So really what I wanted to do is, my name's Paul McQuillan. I've worked with the Microsoft Cloud, but it's kind of before it was the Microsoft Cloud. I worked with Dynamics CRM and Microsoft Technologies for basically most of my adult life, rather tragically, essentially for the last 17 years, and watched the Microsoft Cloud and different technologies develop over that time. My company, CRMCS, we're like a sort of traditional Microsoft service provider in some level, but we also build our own technology, and I'm firmly a techie, so you can probably sell a little bit. Instead of bringing a mouse mat, I've got a spare laptop, which works quite well as a mouse mat. So firmly as a techie, and so often what I've done with demonstrations and products is demoed our technology sort of doing what it does, and there's a little bit of that here today as well. But really what I've sort of focused in, particularly over the last 2 years, is looking at how different companies have deployed the cloud and how they've worked with Microsoft Cloud in small chunks or big chunks, and we've produced that sort of leaflet between sort of me and my team of like looking at different projects we've done to look at how kind of technology innovation happens these days, because I think it's changed radically from say 10 years ago or 15 years ago when I started in the industry. I was a bit of a whippersnapper once, but I'm probably getting increasingly old now. But looking at how technology's changed and how people actually deploy the cloud in the real world, you know, how it actually really works, how the Microsoft Cloud comes together. So there's quite a big technology content here. There's a big sort of demo of like different technologies and how we can use those with reference to projects we've done it. But really, it's focused on how do organizations actually grasp the cloud and how has it sort of moved on from what it used to be. So really, as I said, there's quite a lot of words there, but really it's looking at the challenge of like how organizations look at how deploying technology. You know, a lot of organizations still perceive technology as, right, we're going to have a database, then we're going to do some stuff, and it's really difficult to roll out, so we get as far as a database and that's that. And really, that landscape has completely changed, in my opinion, the last 4 years, really, where technology is increasingly easy to deploy. It's increasingly easy to take advantage of things. And the technology that's coming from the big tech partners, obviously I'm very much a Microsoft person, they got me at an early age, but you're talking Microsoft, Google, Amazon, there's a huge amount of technology coming down the pipeline from those companies that's very, very good for organizations to put to use, but it's like, how do you actually put that to use? You know, how does it all fit together? How do people really do it? And so I think the challenge for a lot of organizations now is going, how do you put that technology to use? How do you find the right sort of people like myself, like service providers, to then link up with technology providers? And the big thing, the sort of one thing almost I want everybody to walk away from with today is then looking at how do not just use people like me, not just use people like Microsoft, but how do companies adopt that technology and roll with it themselves, actually put that to use themselves and bring business and technology together. There's always the big challenge of any IT projects, why IT projects typically used to fail. When I was at uni, everyone was like 60%, 70% of IT projects fail. It's like, well, why on earth did anyone do them then? Of like, how do that work? And that's the integration with the business. And all of that now sort of stems a lot from low code or no code tools that businesses can adopt. It's not just coming from mysterious techies like me showing off fancy machine learning and this, that, and the other. And really, so I want to show is I want to go a bit of a whip through of different technologies here. So I'm going to go through this and show the business end of each one of these. So apologies if I go like jumping through different bits of technology, but it's looking at how easy these things are to apply is the key bit. So really what I want to look at is almost initially Power Platform. It's a bit of a Microsoft buzzword at the moment. It used to be called Dynamics CRM in my old world, but the Power Platform, right, how do I drop in a database, mobile apps into a business quickly, easily, without too much fuss? And so that's the backbone to often what we do here. We're then looking at, right, portals. Portals used to take ages to build. I know because I've developed some of them. I know my ASP.NET, if anybody's really hardcore coding. They used to take ages to build. I've built some of them before. They're difficult to support. All of that is a thing of the past. You can deploy a portal very easily, very quickly. And we're going to see that in evidence. I'm going to show you a portal that we built in the last 2 days for this demo. Looking at things like SharePoint, Microsoft Teams, great technologies. They work really well. They don't often integrate very well with other Microsoft products. But that's where my company have built a tool of the year, which we call DocDrive, which integrates SharePoint with the Power Platform, with Teams, and does it well. And so we're going to see a little bit of that in action as well. And that's where probably I should turn my Teams off, but it's going to be part of the demo, so I can. And then Power Automate, massive, huge technology from Microsoft. If you're using anything to do with Microsoft products at any point, and you've not heard of Power Automate, or you've not used Power Automate, give it a Google. Have a chat with somebody like me, or give it a Google and read up on it. It's an absolutely brilliant piece of technology. When I first heard of it, I was like, oh, it's workflow, but it's in the cloud, great. I looked into it, put it to use, absolute game changer. And I'm a hardcore techie. I know how to do all the code stuff in Azure, all of that stuff. I don't need a low-code tool. When you see them when they're done properly, you're like, right, that changes the universe of what we live in. Analytics. I said, my knowledge of Power BI is pretty weak, but I tell you what, machine learning, I've been to a lot of seminars with machine learning where people talk about AI. It's almost always machine learning. Don't want to ruin the magic, but there's a big element of the things like that, machine learning. Someone said to me like 10 years ago, I want a machine learning, I want an analytics model. About, right, well, 10 grand and I'll work your way up. That is a big element from technology providers you can deploy in a business tomorrow without too much stress. And again, we're going to see that because I've done it for this demo. And I've sucked in a whole load of data that we can look at some machine learning, analysing that data and producing analytics for a customer in real time. It's a complete game changer. If you've not sort of introduced that into businesses yet, through Microsoft, through Google, through whoever, it's well worth having a look at because it's technology that used to be hugely difficult to get at is now very easy. And so we're going to take a look at that in the real world. And then how we do it, big bit, don't worry what to take away. Those technologies, Power Automate's quite complicated, AI Builder's quite complicated. It's really not that difficult to get that into your business now. It's not a huge, if you get a consultant in for a couple of days, you can start looking at bits like that. It's not a big IT project anymore of, right, we need to spend 20 grand just to get a project in. It really is a lot simpler and a lot evolutionary. And that's the big thing that I want this demo to almost come across of. You can evolve how you do IT. It's not a case, let's buy a big expensive IT project, let's go away for 6 months, and then come back and some magic's happened somewhere. That old school of IT is why IT projects failed. They didn't get momentum, they didn't get user adoption, people spent loads of money, it took loads of time, and then not much happened. And that view of the world is, I think, the fading away now. Through the cloud sort of proper adoption, you can do that evolutionary, you can do it rapidly, you can get momentum inside a business, and you can build on easy, quick wins. And that's where, like, I think that IT, the way companies buy IT has effectively changed with that. So that's enough a little waffle. I'll do a bit of setting the scene there, but really, as I said, I'm run quite a technical company, so really I like to see sort of how that really works in the real world.